If you were no longer affected by the judgment of others and you stopped judging yourself, would you make different choices? Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here's the host of Inspired Choices Radio Show, Possibilities Coach, Christine McIver.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inspired Choices Radio Show. Yes, I am Christine McIver. I am your host for tonight's show, and we have another fabulous show tonight. We've got a great guest with me, Natasha Covic. She is going to be talking to us on our Feminine Potency Series tonight. We continue this fabulous series, and I just want to tell you what this series is all about. It's about really tapping into, connecting with, and inviting in what I love to call goddesses with their feminine, potent energy to come in and talk to us about what they're doing in the world and how they're turning it up and for themselves and for those around them. So I believe this is our fourth week. Melissa, is that right? This is our fourth week of the Feminine Potency Series, and we still have more coming up, which is fabulous. And tonight we're going to be talking about transforming people's lives one frequency at a time. Now, before we get invite Natasha in live, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. If this is the first time you're listening, I am a holographist coach, and I work with individuals and groups, organizations, to really have them step into all that they desire and require in their lives. A lot of people, I find, keep their desires at a distance, like in the future I'd like to have, in the future I'd like to do this. This is what I'm working towards. Well, when you're working with me, we don't wait for the future. We step into it. We start embodying it to start to create it greater and greater in your life. So I work with individuals. I love working with individuals that are in business. If you're an entrepreneur, either just a new fledgling entrepreneur, or you're someone that's been in business for years and you're ready to turn it up, I love working with business owners, as well as I really enjoy working with individuals that are having challenges in relationships. So one of my signature programs is called Divorce with Dignity. And that program is all about moving through a relationship. If you're looking to end your marriage or end a relationship, whether it's with an intimate partner, a family member, a friend, or even maybe a business partner, this is a way for you to close that relationship with honor and dignity for everyone involved. It is also something that a program that we could assist you if you've actually signed the divorce papers, but you're still living with a lot of the anger from that relationship. This is something, especially when there are children involved, that supports building a greater co-parenting family relationship on the other side of divorce. So if that's something that intrigues you or you're interested in hearing about what I do with business, do contact me.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
So it seems that we've lost Christine for a second. I think she'll be on in a moment. And so I'll take it over for now. I'm Natasha Covic. And I'll do my intro as Christine was probably going to do that, but I'll take that over as well. So I'm a certified holistic nutritionist here in the Toronto GTA area. And here she is. I guess I'll continue. So I've been practicing here in Ontario for the last year and a half, and before that, in South America and before that in British Columbia. And so majority of my practice is focused around frequency, and as I like to heal with heal people with one frequency at a time, and meaning that I just specialize in PEMF therapy, which is pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. And my potency comes from many, many things. Christine. Okay. So, okay, so Christine's back.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Wow, I don't even know what happened. It's like I just went into a time warp. It was like really crazy.
It's like Mercury retrograde.
Oh my God, it's crazy. Anyways, so Natasha, we are talking tonight with you. Did you actually, while I was not there, did you go through your bio?
I did, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Whew. Okay, cool. So, so tell us about, first of all, how did you get into your line of work, Natasha?
Interesting question. So I got into holistic nutrition faced with my own health issues that I was going through, and some diagnoses that I received that I actually didn't want to identify with, and meaning like I had something called PCOS, which a lot of women know about and suffer with, and so after being told that it's not curable and I could not cure it, I was determined to cure it. So with that, I signed up to become a holistic nutritionist. I studied for about 3 years and had 2 kids in between, but yeah, that's how I pretty much got into this line of work.
That's very, very cool. So how long have you been doing this for?
I would say about 3 years, actively 1.5 years in my own clinic. So it's been interesting now working in your own space and your own energy and having your own practice.
So when did you open the practice up?
We've been in business for about almost 2 years here in Canada, and before that we were in Argentina, in Buenos Aires.
Wow, what an adventure!
Yeah.
Now, where were you born and raised? Were you born and raised in Canada?
Born and raised in Toronto, Ontario. Yeah, I'm a gal from Toronto. Yeah.
Yes,
so Argentina was a little bit of a culture shock.
Yeah. So what brought you there?
We just kind of went on the whim on that one. My partner wanted to have a clinic, and he didn't want to have it in Canada, and we both shared the dream of not living here. So we kind of jumped on that, just kind of followed the energy on that. We were there for almost a year, and then I got a little nostalgic and realized, I need to come home, and everything was pulling me to come back here. So the energy was right for me to be here. So we're back.
That's very cool. So tell me, what is the thing that you're doing with your voice? I mean, you have a job, you have a business, but what makes what you're doing different with the energy that you step into with your feminine potency?
That's a great question. So I guess that feminine potency, I had to kind of rebuild that. I felt that I lost that for a really long time, and I think that all mothers can kind of share that same perspective when you have children and having two so close together. I literally felt that I lost myself, and I felt like I had no potency, and that was very depressing, and thinking that, oh my gosh, is this life, and like, is this how I'm going to live? I'm not going to have that energy and that drive and that like sexual everything just coming and spewing out of me. And so I didn't take that for the answer, the final answer. It was very conclusive. Mm-hmm. So I started to kind of rebuild that. And as you know, attending New York City at the listening to Mama Jean and her amazing, and reading her amazing book, and Pussy, the Reclamation, that was just right. a little bit of a little jolt for me to get back out there.
Was it like a restart?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I had a rebirth.
And wait a minute, before we continue, how close are your children in age?
18 months.
Oh my gosh.
18, yeah.
So you were an independent woman building up yourself, and then you find yourself with two children, and then suddenly you're completely drained.
Absolutely. And not only just two children and a new relationship and a new country, and completely drained. Yeah, so you nailed it. That's it.
Okay, so you start to you get this business going, and you've been working in this business with these two young children, and then we go off to New York, and you've been doing your exploration though for years before this.
Absolutely.
Kind of coming back to yourself, right? And so when after the event in Toronto, so for those of you that don't know, it was a weekend with women. It was all for women. It was actually a goddess weekend, and it was a retreat where we started to really invigorate and acknowledge again the potency that we are as women, as feminine goddesses, and it really wakes us up, as you were saying, Natasha. It really woke you up. So when you came back after that weekend, what did you start to experience?
Well, I felt like, wow, I'm powerful. I'm so powerful. I knew this. I suppressed this in order to conform to certain ideas of what a woman should be and what a mother should be and what a wife should be. And so I stopped being me. I stopped, allowing that to vibrate through my body and throughout. And so that for me was a huge lesson in itself. And coming from that weekend, at first it's like ecstasy when you're there, and then you come home and you're like, oh, but there's no other sister goddesses that live with me, so they don't know what I went through. So I'm like, okay, I need to find that support. I need to build that kind of community around me and have the same potency kind of being around me and allowing that to kind of be spread.
Yeah, and to continue to go. And, I just want to say for the record that while we had a wonderful time, there was a lot of joy and laughter, there was a lot of women, myself included, that were cracking open areas that we hadn't worked through yet, or pain that we had shoved away, acknowledging where we kind of maybe let ourselves down. It wasn't just all roses weekend.
Not at all. Not at all.
Right? So it really was like a breaking open for many, many, many of us.
Yeah. The first day, I think I cried out of an 8-hour day, I think I cried about 7.5 hours. And it was such a relief. Yeah. I'll throw it in. I was really hungover and had a great night, but, it was just a little bit, it was amazing. It was amazing to share the energy with these women, to hear their stories, the stories that aren't told, the stories that aren't heard, and be that support for them in a way, and to be in such a community like that, it lit my fire. It completely woke me up.
Right, it woke you up, and then you came home and you're like, dun 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 dun.
Then it was like, okay, like baby steps. Let's start cracking at it more. More action, going out more, networking, and my social media exploded, being more open and sharing stories. And people want to hear real stories. People could see through the fakeness. I've never been a fake person. Whoever knows me my whole life knows that. I am very straight in that sense of being who I am and sharing with people stories and how they can heal on my own.
Okay, we are up for our first break, Natasha. Now, when we get back, I really want to dive into, the post-event that we went to together. I really want to dive into that and talk about what you are creating since that time and how it's different, and some other questions that we'll definitely dive into. So you are listening to the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network with myself, Christine McIver, my wonderful guest tonight, Natasha Covic. And if you would like to join us in the chat room, please come over to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. And from there, you can actually interact with Natasha and myself asking questions or making comments. We're always interested in that. So we'll be back right after this break. Stay tuned.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are talking with Natasha. We are on our Feminine Potency Series, and tonight we're talking about transforming people's lives one frequency at a time. So, Natasha, before we went to break, we were talking about how you have gotten to this point, both your background and most certainly what happened in the last few months after the event in New York. So now tell us, what was it like as you began to embody what you had learned that weekend into your life and your business?
Well, it was definitely a transition, and it took some time to really find my voice and how I wanted to express this and everything, how I wanted to put it together, and how I could make that fit into my clinic without being too quote unquote metaphysical. So that was so I had to keep it very very clean, and in a sense I had to keep it very, how would you put that without sounding rude?
PG? Like PG?
Yeah, I had to be, exactly, very PG, a way that everybody could understand it without offending anybody, which is really not my style. So that was definitely a challenge of mine. Hence why I'm branching out.
So it was challenging for you after you came back from the weekend?
Absolutely. I mean, having all this knowledge and having all this energy brought back to you, and realizing that you're back to who you are, but yet you're still in the same routine, was definitely a challenge for me, and how I could transcribe that into my clinic, and if it was going to fit into my clinic, and if I should just do something separate. So,
okay, all right. So it's been what, 2.5 months? How have you been doing with the integration?
It's been great. I've definitely split myself 50-50, so 50% in the clinic and 50% outwards, and working my own private business. In the clinic, I educate our patients as much as possible, tuning them into what's going on with their bodies, and how, certain things that they're dealing with, or certain pains, or certain emotions, and how those thoughts and those, the constant stories that they're telling themselves, how it's actually affecting their bodies, and the frequency behind that. So that's definitely been an eye-opener for many. I do a lot of education on EMF, and people just having the awareness, like, around them, what the frequencies coming at them, not just, from people and their energies and the foods that you eat, if there's any, frequency coming from that food, meaning if it's processed or canned or if it's live food, to, Wi-Fi radiation and cell phone radiation. Like, we're so attached to these devices, but, we're not aware about how much they're lowering our vibration.
Mm-hmm. So did you find that your frequency had changed when you came back from the weekend?
Yeah, like times a godzillion. Absolutely.
Times a godzillion. So as you've been embracing the change in the frequency, has that been changing your life? Transforming your life?
Yes. I feel like I've always... Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
I've always, since I was a little girl, I've always thought of myself as a healer, and that comes through generations, through the family vine, and I just didn't know how to grasp that and how I was healing. But you can heal in different types and different modalities. It can be with words, it can be with touch, it can be with different machines. But so I definitely have been exploring different ways of helping people, and it's almost like a customized plan for everybody. Everybody's so different, and everybody, like certain individuals can only take certain information, and so not overloading them with information, but just slowly dripping that information to them. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So your vibration changed. Have you found that you have been interacting and then having a different result with your clients because of your change in frequency?
Absolutely. So, and what I loved about that weekend, and, people are very uncomfortable saying the word pussy, but really connecting back to your sexual energy and to your pussy and allowing that, to flow through you and allowing that energy to spread. And for me, just possessing that back and feeling like a woman and feeling sexy and feeling, I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I have so much that I can share. I have so many people that I can help, that I want to help, that I will help, that just gave me so much more to bring forward in a way that not often, I was very misunderstood by some people because that's a little bit far out for them. But then you tweak the wording and, you keep out some words like pussy and you're okay. But I just felt, I felt alive. And I do feel alive. And so, yeah.
So what are you seeing when you're working with your clients, and you're how are you turning up their frequencies?
Well, I've been very active on my social media, doing a lot of live videos, like I mentioned, and just sharing with people, what the things the modalities that I'm using, the things that I'm doing in my life, and how I'm raising my vibration. And so things that I do, on a daily basis, one is I'm very conscious now of the thoughts that I feed myself. So, and what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, how I feel. I used to dwell on how much pain I was in, and after birth, and how I had postpartum, and I was just dwelling about, almost I fell into this victim stage, and I snapped out of it. And that weekend really just gave me a jolt. That's not you. You're selling these stories, but that's not you. I was always the strong, sharing positive and just allowing things. Everything is gonna, the best is yet to come. And so for me, that weekend was just okay, wake up, you're back. Okay, back in alignment. I realigned and I was out the door.
Nice. So what are you seeing with your clients? With how do you turn up their frequency? What are you working with to do that?
I'm working with a few things. Well, first we work on the mental state and like I said, the consciousness, what they're thinking, what they're saying, and how to shift that. Surrounding yourself with beautiful things and feeling the gratitude. And I think gratitude is really, really important, and how just the vibration of gratitude, how positive it is in people's lives, and just doing simple things like slow steps, baby steps, gratitude lists and thank you lists and stuff like that. As well as in the clinic, when I get more sciencey and get back to business, I do, I practice with, pulsating electromagnetic field therapy, which is PEMF. And basically it's the mat that you lie on that, mimics the electromagnetic field of the earth. and allows your body to come to homeostasis. So it regenerates and recharges all of your cells, which to me is A, mind-blowing, but B, we're living in a time, in a day and an age that this is exactly what every single person on this planet needs. Not only just for their own, body's frequency, but we're being bombarded on a daily basis by Wi-Fi radiation, cell phone towers around us, and then, the negative people, and then the foods that we're eating. And so I feel that the clients that I see, their vibration is very low. And so I also work with something called hair mineral analysis, where I can take their hair and send it into a lab. And from there, I can determine, the toxicity in the body, how the mineral levels, the vitamins, and different ratios in the body, and how they affect certain organs like the adrenal glands and the chronic stress. So working with them in a way of lowering their chronic stress, allowing them to know, which supplements they should be taking based on the DNA, their DNA, based on what's coming from them, not just, what I think, hey, you should take omega-6, but it's actually customized on their DNA. So, that's really cool.
That's really cool. So when you are working with people, now this isn't just your normal, go to the health food store and get a few things, which I think the majority of people, that's what they're doing. They're doing 2 or 3 things and they feel like they're doing things naturally, right? But what you're doing is diving very deep into a lot of areas that, do you find people are uncomfortable or have a lot of doubt around what you're talking about?
Surprisingly not. I find that people are very open. Mind you, we specialize in pain. Majority of our patients do come for pain management. And so they've already come to the end where they're just, they can't take it anymore. Just to throw it in there, we also do acupuncture. It's an acupuncture Chinese medicine clinic as well. And so they're already at their wit's end, and whatever I may share with them, and this is, while they're waiting and in the waiting room, I'll have a chat with them, and they're so open. They're so open to hearing. They're so open to making changes in their lives. Because if they're not choosing that for themselves, how can your body heal?
Right. So you've got people that are hoping that there's another option because they've kind of run through a lot of the choices that are out there.
Absolutely. And it's unfortunately we're left with the last hope, and I know a lot of alternative medicine practitioners can say the same. They should be coming for preventative, because we can prevent these things from happening, the pain, the disease, the cancers. It's all preventative, something we can work on. We don't have to choose that for ourselves, to create that for ourselves.
Do you find that that's changing at all, that people are starting to be a little bit more proactive?
I feel like there's still a lot of awareness that needs to be shared, and that's one of my purposes is to share the awareness, and that's why I'm trying to stay so active on social media and have this information shared, because a lot of people are in the dark with what they're faced with on a daily basis that they wouldn't even think is unhealthy,
Right. And when we get back, I'd like to talk about the challenges that maybe you and your profession are finding, and how the feminine voice actually is being a huge contribution to that. So everyone, stay tuned. You're listening to Inspired Choices here on the Inspired Choices Network with my wonderful guest, Natasha Covic, and myself, Christine McIver, and we will be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business, desiring to expand a current business, or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant. This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details or join the Facebook page, Pleasure of Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have the wonderful Natasha Covic is with us. Natasha, before we went to break, I'm really curious about the challenges that you find, that your profession finds, and how your feminine voice makes a difference there.
I have to say my biggest challenge was myself, much like everybody else, I would say. Yeah, I definitely think that I put up my own walls. I put up my own limitations. I conformed to a way that, I thought, I'll let the male talk and I'll let him, do most of the talking. He has a higher degree or he's like this. And then I woke up and I was like, no, girlfriend, you are the potency. You are the power. You are the voice. And I realized how influential I was and how much my voice was being heard and how much I loved my voice to be heard, because when I speak, and those who know me, they know that I speak from a place of love, and I always speak from a place of love. And so that helped me in my own insecurities, and that were, some of my biggest challenges. I buried that. I said, I didn't take ownership of that. That's not me. And I realized that how potent I was and how much I could help people and how receptive they were to it. And being a female in this industry, I mean, it's so empowering. It's so empowering, and it's empowering to network with other practitioners and exchange and exchanging different services. And it's just something. I wish it was something that everybody could experience. It doesn't come, go ahead.
Do you find that because of the feminine energy that's been really growing in this area, do you find that there's more collaboration, that there's more choices and like complementary
absolutely
support? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I was blown away because I felt like, before when everybody's like, oh, women are so jealous, women are this, women are that. And then, I jumped into this industry and I started getting out there and I was networking, and it was like collaboration after collaboration after collaboration. Like, let's do a talk here and let's help you here. And it's mind blowing. It's such a beautiful experience to know that those stories were such BS, and that how to see women pull together to support each other has just been, it's an honor, really. Like,
yeah,
we're so blessed.
That is fabulous.
So blessed.
Maybe we need to start changing the story, Natasha, because we've talked about this for years, that women are notorious and against each other and try to cut each other down. And I mean, the people that I have around myself, my close friends, my colleagues, that's not the case at all. You're saying the same thing is not happening for you. What if we actually changed the story on that?
I think we've totally changed the story, and I think that big shift happened. We all felt that shift happen. It was happening. I think I was really feeling it last year, and I think more women need to jump on board and to open up your heart, to open up your story, to share. You'll empower other women. You give them more light.
Exactly, and grow with each other. Like, I find that as women share their knowledge, it's like we add to it. Oh yeah, and what about this and what about that? It's kind of like, we're all making something beautiful together as we add in our knowing, our knowledge, our awareness, our education, and our gifts as well.
Absolutely. It's so beautiful. It's really beautiful to see these women pull together and support each other and collaborate and expand, like the expansion that's going on. I mean, I don't feel alone. Even though I'm branching out, I don't feel alone. In the last, 2 weeks, I've networked with 3 women that are collaborating with me. And it's just because we want to help. It's coming from the heart. People want to help. They want people to heal. We want everybody to be healthy.
Right. And okay, so tell us, we've got some questions in the chat room I would definitely want to pay attention to. So the first one is, what do you feel was your biggest challenge in embracing your frequency and potency?
Yeah, like I said, it was myself. I was my biggest challenge. I put up my own barriers and my own thoughts and my own, rights from wrongs. And after I scrapped all that, I realized the potency, and I realized, when a woman is turned on, you can't extinguish that fire. She will only spread. And helping other women and collaborating. Yeah.
When a woman is turned on, you cannot extinguish her. She will only, what was the last part?
She will just spread.
She will only
fire.
Spread and expand. That is fantastic. We definitely have to get that quote. I love that. So Natasha, if you were to tell somebody what your potency is, what would you say it is?
Oh, that's so hard. I mean, I definitely feel, gosh, what's my potency? I just feel, oh man, that's a hard one. I'm only talking about myself, but just being real and just sharing love and spreading love, and allowing people to see what they're worthy of. And sometimes, like, my friends tell me, you're like my psychiatrist, and I say, well, I'm here to support you, because that's when I needed that most. I had that support too, and I know how much that meant to me. And just being that influence and being that potency to show, just to be your cheerleader. I'll be your cheerleader and just cheer you on, because there's so much good in this world, and we get stuck in these low vibrating frequencies, and we're just our vibration is so low, and we get sick, and we focus on sickness and illness, and we forget that we can switch that. We can switch all of that with our thoughts, with our mind, what we feed ourselves, and being that voice for people, and just allowing that to penetrate them, through them, and allowing that to shift their lives, it makes my heart explode.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. Now, I know that you have a special promotion for all of our listeners tonight. Do you want to share with everybody what you are actually gifting us with your show?
Absolutely. So anybody in the GTA area that's interested in pulsating electromagnetic field therapy, if you have pain, anxiety, depression, whatever you are dealing with, I am offering a 20-minute session, as well as a quick chat with me, which would be great to connect with everybody. And for those who are unable to come physically to the clinic, I am offering a 20-minute discovery call, just to chat about different modalities, about healing, and if my service is a fit for you.
Nice.
And no nude photos.
Yeah, we have a request. Or a question in the chat room if that was what she was going to be giving away. All right. Well, no nude photos tonight. So Natasha, if people are interested in taking advantage, what is your website address?
Sure, you can visit our website, aculosophy.com, ACULOSOPHY.com. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm fairly active. I try to be active every single day, and that's holistic, HOLISTIC _Nata, NATA. And you can follow me there. I try and keep it light, but get some points out there. So
you're definitely active. You're definitely active on there.
Yeah,
it's really, really great. So what do you find is the greatest value of knowing our own frequencies? Why should we know the frequencies that you're talking about?
Because if we learn that the frequency that we're currently operating on, which is probably a lower frequency, if we learn that we can boost that frequency and that you can achieve anything. And my mom used to always tell me, you can achieve anything you put your mind to. And it's so true. Whatever it is what you feed yourself, if you set your goals so high, we have to vibrate at that frequency, and things that I like to do is to be in nature, drink good water, meditate. I started chanting. I love chanting. I'm sorry for my religious Orthodox friends out there listening, but I love chanting. It warms my soul. The frequencies are just divine, and I eat it up. So yeah, there's so many things we can do, and if we could just operate at that higher frequency, imagine if everybody was operating at a higher frequency. There would be no anger or jealousy or spite. Like, it would just be flow. It's going to flow.
Imagine if we actually had that. So, if you were a newbie to what you're talking about, what would you suggest to someone? What would their first step be?
I would start, and what I told my girlfriend last night, just start journaling. Just write some words down. Get that out of your head. Just write it all down. And my friend said to me, well, I'm scared that someone's going to read it. Well, burn it. Just write it. Just burn it right after. It doesn't really matter, but you need to start releasing that, and then choosing the words that you're using and choosing the thought patterns. It sounds harder than it actually is, right?
Okay.
So instead of, I can't do that right now, instead of saying I can't do that right now, I'll probably look into doing that later. So just getting rid of those negative words out of your vocabulary.
Right. So what is somebody going to experience right away when they start watching their words?
Well, you'll experience that. You'll notice other people using those words. You notice the pattern that you're in. When you use those words, you stay with people that use those words. But once you remove yourself from those words, you have the awareness, like you're more conscious of what you're saying, what you're thinking, and how you feel. And so, you have to choose your words and thought patterns. You'll definitely notice that for sure.
And when we're doing that, you're going to start to see some changes. What are some of the changes that you've noticed for yourself and for the people that you work with when they start down this way?
Yeah, so definitely first thing I noticed was my sleep. My sleep pattern changed. I was waking up earlier. My overall mood, like my anxiety levels went down. I started to release the things that were, blocking me and blocking my, that were sitting on my chest so heavily. I started to release that either through journaling or through chanting. And I just, overall, I just felt happier. I just felt lighter. I had less baggage.
Nice.
And these are simple little things that I was doing. I wasn't even, we're not even talking meditation yet.
Right. We're not even talking about meditation. Exactly. So I think we're up for our next break. So we're gonna go for a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna wrap up with Natasha and hear about some of the other things that we can be doing to up our frequency. So stay tuned, everyone. You're listening to the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on the past or what others think. What would our lives be like if we made choices based on what we desire in this moment? By tuning into Inspired Choices radio show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to do just that. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to create the life and living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with Possibilities Coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. Or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
All right. Welcome, everyone. So you are listening tonight to Natasha Covic, and we're talking about frequency. So, Natasha, before we went to break, I really wanted to find out more about what you're doing in the world and how each and every one of us can actually step into increasing our frequency. So what are some of the things that you would suggest?
Oh, what I would suggest. So yeah, like I said, I would definitely start with journaling, a gratitude list, what you're thankful for as well. I would get out in nature. And I know it's been a cold winter here in Canada. It's been brutal, but like get out to nature and get in the forest just to reground yourself and hug a tree. I know people think that's so like hippy dippy, but like that's the quickest way you can ground yourself and get some ease flowing through your body. Once it's warm enough, I would go barefoot. I'd drink some really good water, get some good clean food into you as well. So just simple little things like you can, ease into your life each day, as well as, maybe even starting some meditation, tapping into that a little bit. There's a number of ways you could do it, and that, people sometimes feel overwhelmed. And so I have a lot of clients that say, okay, just don't give me too much. And I can completely, I can attest to that because I was the same. Don't give me too much. I get overwhelmed. We're so constantly bombarded with information that I think the best way is just like ease it into your life. Ease it in like, in the evening or in the morning, but just like let it flow with ease, like not making it so I have to do this and I have to do that because then you're not going to do it.
Right. I think there's a lot of people out there that feel that kind of pressure that if I've got to, in order for me to get where Natasha is, or in order for me to have the kind of health that I'm desiring, I'm going to have to do all of the things that Natasha just quoted. I'm going to have to, follow every guru. And, I see a lot of people just get super frustrated and fall backwards actually into things actually being worse, and then oftentimes they've got depression on top of that. Not that they're depressed, but feeling overwhelmed or feeling like they've just completely messed up and they're going to be able to succeed.
Yeah, and that's what we see a lot in the clinic. We see a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, and the number one thing when they do walk in, the number one thing I tell people, and I missed on this, is disconnect. Disconnect. You have to disconnect. We're constantly, waiting for those likes and who wrote me on Facebook and did I get a message and then the Instagram here, and it's constantly these releases of dopamine, and then we're drained. So disconnecting and retraining ourselves that no, I don't need to check my Facebook or my Instagram every minute of the day, and I don't need that rush constantly. So and an easy way to do that is there's a quick way you can set your minimum time on Instagram. 30 minutes, you get an alarm, boom, you're done. 30 minutes, no more Instagram for the day. And setting these boundaries, it's just recreating these boundaries that we think, yeah, it's so easy, but we're not implementing. So just, boundaries.
Okay, so what do you mean by like there's more than just saying, you know, disconnect. What is that doing from our physical bodies when we're getting these likes and the dopamine? Is what is actually physically happening for us?
Well, what my main focus on really is the constant bombardment of radiation that we're under. So yeah, we're also going for the likes and the constant connection, but you have a cell phone in your hand that's radiating. It's radiating through your body, and then you're sitting at a laptop all day, and then, oh, wait, you have Wi-Fi too. So it's like the cumulative radiation that we're around, like it causes anxiety in the body. And that's why we see it so much in the clinic. It's the number one thing we treat in the clinic is anxiety and depression. And that's why I stress the disconnect. It's not, it has to do with the likes and the constant dopamine releases, but it's also giving your body just a little bit of a break from all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so that's going to help to start to change the frequency, the physical frequencies, but also all of the other frequencies that are happening within our body.
Exactly.
The frequencies to calm down, the frequencies to be able to go to sleep. All of these things are going to be changed by us disconnecting a little bit more.
Absolutely. And just not, even simply just not holding your phone on you, not holding it to your ear, and just distance. Distance is the safest way to do it. Just distance yourself from these devices.
Wonderful. That's
especially
very, very
young
cool.
kids. Especially young kids. That's just another big stressor for all the mamas and papas listening out there. Especially young kids. This will fry their brains. They don't call it Wi-Fi for no reason. It's literally scientists are reporting back on this, and it's a heavy topic that nobody wants to hear about, but it's happening. It's happening, and it's definitely not going to do us any justice. So the word needs to be, and the awareness needs to be spread on this.
Mm. Well, that's what you're doing with your frequency in the world, right?
That's what I'm doing. That's my mission.
That's fabulous. Okay, we only have a couple of minutes left before we're done the show, Natasha. Let everybody know again what it is that what the gift is that you're gifting to all the listeners and where they can contact you.
Absolutely. So anybody in the GTA area can come to our clinic, Aculosophy.com. It's going to be written down. And you can come in for a free 20-minute session and a chat with me, as well as a 20-minute discovery call for anybody interested in learning a little bit more, have any questions addressed, and to see if you wanted to join our program for online coaching as well.
That's fabulous.
That's my offer.
And the website again?
It's www.aculosophy.com, Aculosophy.com.
Philosophy.com. I love that. And where are you located in Toronto?
We are in Etobicoke, so on Dundas Street West in the village of Islington, near Islington Station.
Nice. Okay, cool. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Definitely check out Natasha and what she's going to provide for you. You want to definitely connect with her on Facebook, on Instagram, or through her website. And until next week, my friends, remember, you can always make another choice. Take good care. Bye for now.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.